Hello there, this is Sheels on Wheels with the Artist Studio. Today we're talking to infamous artist from East Sooke, Angela Menzies. She's taking me down to Taylor Beach today for a cold dip, and she's going to explain to us why we're doing this before her artistic endeavors begin. Here's Angela Menzies. So why are we here?
That's a really good question. Friends spent years trying to get me to cold dip, like probably 10 years. And every single time I'd be like, yeah, no, that's not me. I'm a hot bath before bed kind of woman. My naturopath recommended it to me for, inflammation in the body. I have no idea if it's working for that. But I do know that the first time I went, I couldn't have been anxious for the rest of the day if I tried. And I realized it's a really good antidote to anxiety. And so it only hurts for 1 minute, and then around the 3-minute mark, you feel pretty euphoric. And I'm up to about 10 minutes now. It's still, some days it's pretty chilly when we go. I've definitely been when it's snowing and there's snow on the ground. But yeah, I do it for the euphoria.
Okay, well, I don't know if I can make it 3 minutes. Start with the feet, and we'll set the timer, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll pull Angela out after her lips turn purple.
Okay.
So how are you feeling? Angela was joined by this plunge with her husband. They were both brave. I lasted under 3 seconds. So they've stayed in at least 6 or 7 minutes, maybe even more. And so how are you feeling now?
I feel really, really good. It's a little wavy today, which for me is a mental game because I don't know how to swim. So every once in a while my toes come off the ground and I have a 2-second panic.
Okay.
And then I have to very intentionally calm myself, close my eyes, calm myself. Luckily, most of the time the waves bring you in the right direction anyways.
Well, in my youth, I used to be a lifeguard. So I thought that if Angela was drowning, I could go in. But after I couldn't stay in the water for 30 seconds, I think I would have left her to be overtaken by waves. Having hot chocolate outside a beautiful Pedder Bay to continue our interview about Angela and her art. My first question is, how do you find that cold plunging helps you with your creativity?
Well, I was sort of mentioning earlier how I don't know how to swim, and I think a lot about being authentically you as an artist is being absolutely fearless. To put yourself out there, and the second you start to be afraid or market yourself or start to think about somebody else's needs over your own, you're gonna clam up and you're gonna probably fail. Also, don't be afraid of failure. So I came, regarding cold plunging, I came for the arthritis, I stayed for the euphoria, I stayed for the anti-anxiety benefits. That's what I really get out of it. I've been doing a lot of medical testing lately, and they often tell you to just relax under certain things that I'm doing. And this is the first place I go to is sitting in the ocean, rolling along with the big swells, which is kind of crazy to me because I drowned as a little kid and I never learned how to swim, and I had a lot of phobias around being in water, and so it was such a mental game to go. But I mean, art is a mental game, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you gotta be fearless.
When did you, I know we're just going back, Angela, I can say is predominantly a painter in acrylics, but she does printmaking. She does everything, and she's taught art as well. So she's got a wide scope of what she does. But when did you start creating? Like, were you just always a creative child, or did you pick up? Okay.
No, always. Before I could even hold pencils, my mom would say that I would sort them into their colors, and then I would start drawing. And I would say by the time I was 2, I was drawing. I was infamous by the time I was 7, because in grade 1, we had to draw a picture of what we did on our summer vacation, and I drew a picture of my dad skinny dipping with...
Oh, going back to cold plunging.
Yeah, right. And when I left that school years later, that picture was still hanging in the staff room.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so I've always used art to tell stories, but in particular my story, but other people's stories as well. So I've kind of always done it, but it's changed over the years. I mean, when I first started, when I was in university, I was doing little nude portraits that I could sell at the local frame-up shop just to sort of have a little bit of extra spending money when at university. It changed again when I became a mother. I started painting my children, and that's when I started doing portraits. Was when I started painting my children.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things that is completely informed by my life and where I'm at, and it changes all the time.
Yeah, I've seen many of your portraits, of course, there. And if somebody asked me just straight out, what does Angela Menzies paint? That's where my mind goes, the portraits, and the portraits of beautiful women, but also of your now adult children.
Yeah.
And they're always very colorful. They're always very expressive.
I kind of lose myself when I'm painting people, and it becomes very much a conversation between me and that person, and it's very private, even though it's
Right.
probably going to be on public display. The process is quite private.
So can you explain imposter syndrome to people that might not know what that means?
That you are not who you claim to be. So if I'm saying that, I'm an artist, but at the same time I don't feel like I have the chops to sell my work or show my work, then maybe I'm not a real artist. I think, to be honest, as a children's art teacher, anybody who to any capacity works in art is an artist. And every child I've ever taught has certainly been an artist. But it's so easy when you get into the professional side of things that if you're not marketing yourself a certain way, if you're not presenting it, if you're not showing in big galleries, it can get to people, and they can very easily feel like they're an amateur and they're not a real artist.
Right. And unfortunately, it's such a subjective career, if you want to call it a career.
Yeah, entirely.
Yeah. So would you say that everybody is born an artist, or do you think it's something that's cultivated? Or
I think both. I think not everybody wants to be an artist, right? Everybody has a different type. I think everybody's creative. I think human beings are creative. Some kids I know are really amazing engineers, and they can figure stuff out and build stuff. And, they're the kids that are building Lego all the time. My sons were into that. I think everybody is creative. I don't know that everybody's specifically an artist, but yeah, I think we're born with the drive to be creative. And like anything, of course, it can be honed and taught. And of course, you can get better and learn tricks of the trade. Some people, though, I have taught, my sons actually just seem to have it. And a few students I've had over the years definitely have a very innate ability.
yeah, well, your mother is an artist and you're an artist. So, and then your sons are artists, both of them, and their careers are in art, which is really incredible. I asked the question because I do have this personal belief that art heals, and it doesn't necessarily mean painting. It could be gardening, it could be music, it could be dance, but art and the use of our right side of our brain is where the capacity is for humans to heal themselves. Do you find that that creating and getting into a zone, we'll have to talk about what that means.
Into flow.
Yeah.
Art, I have said many times in blogs and in writing about my art that it has saved my ass many, many times. Yeah.
So what do you say? Say that, do you mean like mentally saved you? Or?
Yeah, mentally has saved me. It's painting can be a visual diary. It can still be another way to connect with the world around you or to express yourself versus being pent up about things. And it's given me a voice many, many times when I needed one.